Keisha, let's look overseas now. The Dow Jones, and you heard a strong link allude to it earlier. The Dow Jones has recorded its worst day since the start of 2022. It tumbled over 1,000 points. It was down 1,200 points actually, and that was the worst day since June 2020. And that happened after this hot inflation report. So give us the update. What's going on in the U.S.?
So it continues the never-ending saga around inflation in the US. So when we think about it, we think how high will inflation go in the US? Because no matter what's been happening with the Fed and their need to increase interest rates, we find that still inflation is a problem and it persists. So the most recent inflation report was out at 8.26%, and not a very high number. And so investors continue to think, does the Fed really know what they're doing? Do they have a firm handle on inflation? Or are they kind of chasing it and trying to cool something that's already run very far from them? So what happened last week was that the inflation number came out, and because the Fed had hiked interest rates by 0.75%, 2 times before, the estimates were around, or the market consensus was around the fact that maybe inflation will come down, but it did not. Still high inflation, because as much as the Fed is trying with interest rates, we still have that problem where, because of the supply chain problems from last year, they still are filtering through the global economy, and we're feeling the effects of that, especially with grocery prices. So because of the hot inflation report we had, markets tumbling, all major markets in the US tumbled that day. It was a sight to behold. Money to be made that day, because there were trades that I did that were fairly profitable, because there was just panic, and just outright panic like this, you're usually able to capitalize on that. Tomorrow is going to be another Fed day. The market.
What happens tomorrow?
Tomorrow, next Wednesday, we're anticipating another rate hike, same 0.75% again. So we'll see what that looks like. It's coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern. So depending on what the read is, you may have another bout of volatility, another leg down, which again, everyone is watching and waiting to see. Does the Fed finally have a handle on inflation? Which is hard at this point, because they're chasing, because I personally believe they waited too late to start hiking interest rates. Remember way back last year when we were talking about inflation, we said that the Fed was coming out saying, it's transient, it's not here to stay, it's just because we're coming out of the pandemic. But it's still here, still struggling with inflation. And so a lot of investors have lost confidence. They're sitting on the sidelines with their money, holding cash, or many of them are thinking about more defensive type strategies right now, until the Fed can kind of figure out what they want to, or how to accomplish bringing down inflation.